I find myself wanting to record a video because of the constant uh, stalking comments from K Arnold about how intimidating and aggressive I am, and more recently she's ramping up the crazy narrative. And so part of it is to see for myself how I communicate. And the other part is to consider that how our society deals with people that complain and protest um, is another form of suppression that we have all been conditioned to believe is acceptable. We like those frogs that are put in a pot and the heat is slowly turned up, and we don't realise that actually the water's starting to boil now. And people who are complaining and protesting all around the globe are the people that are not suppressed, that have the ability to get beyond the denial of what's really happening. And the ratio of the global population that now can see behind the denial is growing. And when I listen to Nicola Willis talk about her approach to beneficiaries, like I think there's 267,000 who are considered work ready on job seeker who've been on that benefit for more than a year. Her approach to all beneficiaries is that they want more money, they should get a job. And she refuses to kind of see that her actions have made it even harder for those people to get a job, because she has made so many people redundant through their decisions as a coalition government. And so it's an example of gaslighting people who are, are not at fault. Superannuitants, people caring for people who are on disability, have disabilities, people like myself who have had a very traumatic mental health experience and are recovering, and who are consistently being re-traumatized by the way that we're being treated through the system, and a constant refusal to see that when you have benefit levels below the required, the minimum wage is indexed to what it is, subsistence living is. Benefits are, I think, 30% of that. And so you've got people who don't have the ability to afford private housing. And why don't they have the ability? It's because we now have mega landlords that own more than 200 properties. We have the same government supporting that sector and penalising this other sector. If the complainer is, if we accept the story that the complainer is irrational without actually looking at the government's actions in this process. We are gaslighting ourselves. So it's the same principle with the Royal Commission into the Abuse and Care. They wanted to delay their report by a year, and that report was due to be handed to Brooke van der Velden 4 working days before the budget announcements. But there was indications, there's been preliminary reports, so the government is well aware of their activities. But it's very convenient. The Royal Commission then sent an email the day after the budget, or that afternoon, to say that they just handed their report over then. So again, we've got a report which indicates some of the reason for long-term beneficiaries are long-term trauma that has never been treated. People have been repeatedly sexually assaulted through the criminal justice system and regularly re-traumatized. And instead of dealing with that and actually addressing that issue, which is the responsibility of the state as one of the offenders, they stonewall it. They've effectively put off budgeting for any interventions under the Royal Commission's recommendations until the next financial year. And by then, we're looking at a more coercive society than what we have now. I've needed to lay some complaints with the police about transitional housing relating to objects being taken from my unit, and requesting footage showing who had access to the unit, and also relating to the ongoing stalking online by K Arnold. But what outcome that will have interests me, actually. And I have to say, I feel sickened to observe these kind of abuses of power over vulnerable people. It's there's something about the worst of human nature to watch this, to watch how vulnerable people are co-opted to do things that they know they shouldn't be doing, and all sorts of threats are held over people for this kind of system to operate in the inhumane way that it is. Anyway, I will now look at the video and assess how aggressive I've been.